Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. Please sit erect, letting your limbs loose in a comfortable position, and try to withdraw your senses, close your eyes, and try to concentrate on the luminous self in the space of heart. I will chant Om. Please sit erect and close your eyes and try to visualize this Atman in the space of your heart. After 5 minutes, I will again chant Om, when you can slowly open your eyes. Om. Katha Upanishad. We were discussing this Upanishad, death with a difference, because there is no death for the Atman. I will chant the Shanty Mantra. Please repeat after me. Om. Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Two things I would like to tell. First is, we work all day, and this work generally makes us tired. Our body and mind gets tired. So is there any way to work when the body and mind will not get tired? Biologically speaking, no, there is no way. But psychologically, emotionally and spiritually speaking, yes. So the body in its physiological sense has a limitation. The mind has a limitation. But notwithstanding that limitation or those limitations, we can psychologically work in such a way that we don't get tired. More often than not, our tiredness is on the psychological level. Our body can do a lot of work, but we get tired at the mind level. So how is that we can work without getting tired at the psychological level? Anybody? If you can really dedicate it to God. There are three ways of doing it. There could be many ways, but I think there are three ways of doing it. One is that, as you said, dedicate the work to God. So whatever you do is actually you are not doing. It's Lord's will which is being done through you. If you can really believe and if you can do from this perspective, every single action of your day-to-day activity, then you will not be tired. Another thing is, if you can always remember that you are the Atman, which has no modification, which has no form, which is of the nature of bliss, existence and consciousness absolute, then again you will not get tired. That means all these things are just happening. And the third way to do it is to love whatever you do. If you love really whatever work you do, your work will no more be a drudgery, but it will be a joy to do. So these are some of the ways which Swami Vivekananda gives us to work in such a way that we do not get tired. The body, of course, will wear out, but the mind will never get tired. As we have seen in some great people's lives, that they work and they wear out their body. Swamiji says, it is better to wear out than to rust out. Anyway, your body has a limited shelf life. So, it's better to exhaust the capacity of the body and the mind. So this is one thing. And second thing is, we are talking about Advaita Vedanta, but how many of you have given thought to practicing Advaita Vedanta in our everyday lives? Have any one of you given thought to this? Why should we practice? This is something which we listen here and then forget.
Practicing, in the way, what we used to think that what is the relation between our day-to-day life and Vedanta, that, keeping that in mind that, some job is being done through me, that's a very difficult to actually practice probably, but, we do try to do things always to the best of our capability, do as best, and sincerely believe the result will follow. At least that way.
Now that is for the work aspect, but I am talking about how to practice Advaita Vedanta. You see, many people are there. I will be very vocal on this point, and strongly I would like to put it, that many people are there who say that Advaita Vedanta cannot be practiced. There are in fact Sanskrit adages and proverbs, etc., to say that Advaita Vedanta cannot be practiced. Now, my question is, if that were so, why did Swami Vivekananda go to lengths to bring this Advaita Vedanta into a practical form, and why did it call it practical Vedanta? If it were something which could not be practiced, he would not have done so. I don't think he was that less of intelligence. That he was very intelligent person, and he would never have proposed a model of practical Vedanta if it could not be practiced. So, can any one of you think how we can practice Advaita Vedanta?
The unity of all existence.
Yes. Yes.
See, everybody is like equal ways. Like someone is like a beggar or something. Don't try to disrespect him.
To understand how we can practice Advaita Vedanta, first of all, we should understand the core of Advaita Vedanta. That is Advaita. There is no distinction. Yes.
To practice like that, this world is not real. So the sukha and dukh both are not real. So just keep on working and don't be attached to sukha or dukh, but not succeeded in.
So both of the things are true. At the emotional or the psychological level, we go or try to go beyond the dualities. So whenever you get some sorrow, it is easier said than done. Whenever somebody scolds you, you feel very bad, but then you try to convince your mind, you try to hammer this thought on your mind that no, this is something which will pass away. And similarly, when you get some happiness also, you try to think same thing. It is very easy to think so when we are sad, but when we are happy, we always are in joy and jumping. So even then we should think that this is also something which will pass away. And more important is, as I said, Advaita Vedanta means no distinction. Advaita means no duality. So at least in mind level, at least intellectual level, we try to think that there is no, so many people are sitting in this hall, and I try to visualize or think that all of you are actually same. All of you are part of me. Or there is definitely no distinction between me and him or her or anybody else. And this you have to constantly practice. This you have to consciously and constantly practice. And I can tell you from my personal experience that there will become a time when you will actually not feel. Say, as somebody who is supposed to be a stranger walks in through the door, and I don't feel that the person is something new or something. It can be anybody. It can be a Russian, it can be a Polish, it can be a French, it can be a German, it can be a African, anybody. But I don't feel that, oh, some new person has come, oh, who is this, etc. And the person can have a different kind of costume sense, different kind of hair. It takes a lot of time for you to adjust with people who have some kind of physical deformities. But even that, if you practice, you can feel oneness with people who have some kind of what you call convoluted faces, etc. Because it is easy to feel one with people who are looking beautiful, but it is very difficult to feel one with people who are not so. So what I want to tell you is, always in all your actions, you try to remove distinction. Distinction at no level should be there. Not at the social level, not at the intellectual level, not at the emotional level. But then there's a problem. There are distinctions. At least there are perceived distinctions. For example, at the intellectual level, you are PhD in mechanical engineering. You cannot expect a 1-year kid to be that intellectually capable. But you remember this in a different way, that potentiality is there, it is yet to be manifested. Each soul is potentially divine, that potentiality is there, not manifested. So there is an unmanifested potential. When you see a person who is poor, there is an unmanifested potential to become rich. When you see a person who is dull, there is an unmanifested potential to become intelligent. That's why Swami Vivekananda says that Murkha Devo Bhava. My God the ignorant, my God the poor, my God the wicked. So there is an unmanifested potential to become good. You see? So the potential is there, only thing it has not been manifested. So this we have to constantly, this will not come natural. Because Shankaracharya had to, that incident with Chandala. So it will not come naturally. We have been corrupted very systematically by our educational and social system. We have to do this. And once you do, you will feel how very simple and very perfect and logical this Advaita philosophy seems. Then everything will fall into place. So
the death penalty be removed from our country.
You see, these are all social things.
But we can
I don't believe any change can come by discussions or debates unless the change comes from the individual level. Because what is the basic unit of society? An individual. So whether death penalty should be removed, these are not the burning questions. When Swami Vivekananda was asked about reforms, he said, I don't want reforms by bits and pieces, but I want reform root and branch reform. Last time, I don't know whether you came, but we discussed how everything what Swami Vivekananda said was nothing but paranchikhani vetrina swayambhu avritta chakshuhu. He wanted to find the solution inside, go inward and find the solution. So all these problems will be solved if you find the solution within yourself. And that is the whole idea. So whether death penalty should be given. For example, what is death? You think that you drive away evil by, okay, it may be setting an example, but then if that is so, how many people stopped murder? Everybody knows that I will be killed. If I kill somebody, I will be killed. Either by the same person or if there is no law, say there is no law for killing people, say death penalty is removed. But what is the guarantee that the son of the father who was killed will not come and take revenge? So, penalty will come in one way or the other. It may not be in the way of a police system or a judicial system, but the person who is related, a friend who saw his friend killed or her friend killed, will come and take revenge. How do you stop that? So these are all, it is unnecessary complicating thing. You just don't do this because ubhau tauna vijanite.
But we have the right for self-defense.
See, that's what. You are sitting in a discussion where we are talking that there is no death, and you are talking about yourself in the construct of you being a body and mind. That is the whole point of the thing.
But we are practicing the Advaita.
You don't practice in the body and mind. You, using body and mind, you try to go beyond body and mind. You see, that's what I'm telling. Instinctually, over births and cycles of janana marana, it has been driven into you that you are the body and mind. So it's a difficult task to come out of it. So consciously you have to act as though you are not the body and mind. Because it is not as though. The truth is that. You're not the body and the mind. So now let us not get into debates and arguments of what penalty should be given for death and all. Because the Upanishad says, Ubhau tauna vijanito. One person who thinks that he kills or is getting killed, neither of them know that what is Atman. Having read that, let us not unnecessarily think of ourselves as this body and mind. We are not body and mind.
But we are discussing the applicability. But suppose
Applicability not at the level of being body and mind. That's what applicability. How? By always remembering that you are not the body and mind. Otherwise you cannot apply Advaita Vedanta.
All the time, if a wicked person approaches us,
yeah,
Ah.
so I want to save my sister from the gundas. So I
Ah.
have to apply force. I cannot think. Okay, it is a kapurushada. That okay, I am beyond body or mind.
Huh?
I am not going to save my sister.
No. You are beyond body and the mind is not kapurushata.
No, that time that I have got to save my heart from the my sister from the gundas.
Ah.
Then that thought comes. Okay, I am beyond body and mind.
You are beyond body and mind.
But I am not realized. But I am thinking.
No, you have that thinking. If you have realized, it's a different thing. But you have that thinking. But at the same time, when you know that somebody is, that's what Swamiji says. You see, Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. Serving somebody, knowing that person as Shiva. Then, why should somebody know the other person as Shiva? Everyone, there is only Brahman. So, Swamiji says, no, you have not realized that yet. Or you don't have that idea. And whatever you think as being moral is something which is unselfish. So the moment you give out yourself to protect somebody, when somebody will come and beat you, then you think that you are the body, not the body and mind. But when somebody is getting beaten up, then you have to definitely go and help that person. See, this is what subjective and objective. Just because you're seeing the person being beaten up, you should go and help. The moment you will not see anybody beating anybody else, then there is no need to help. Are you getting the point? You are the subject. The moment you see an object, you have to deal with it in the subject-object relation. When I see that somebody is getting falling down, I have to run and help because I am seeing that. I am perceiving a difference. I am perceiving somebody being attacked, assaulted. Then I have to help. But when it comes to me, somebody is beating me, then it is better to keep quiet and try to remember that I am the body and mind. This is a very tricky thing. That is why in Bhagavad Gita, very first utterance by Bhagavan is what? What is the first thing what Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita? Huh? 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 First thing what?
Cast away this unmanliness.
That's a key. What is the shloka? Klaibyam masmagama partha na etat tvai upapadyate anarya justam aswargya makirtikaram arjuna. The very first utterance of Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita is a scolding and not an ordinary scolding. If I translate it into Hindi, you will all start making fun of me. But that is what he says. No, it's a very bad scolding. Klaibyam means hijra in Hindi actually. Klaibyam, but technically or politically, it's politically incorrect to tell somebody today like that, because that in itself is a gender, transgender. So, Klaibyam masmagam partha. हाँ, तुम तो हिजड़ों जैसी बात कर रहे हो, ऐसी बात मत करो. क्लैब्यम मास्मगम पार्थ न एतत्त्वयि उपपद्यते, ये तुमको शोभा नहीं देती. अनार्य जुष्टम अस्वर्ग्यम, ये आर्यों जैसा आचरण नहीं है, अस्वर्ग्यम, और इससे तुम्हें स्वर्ग लाभ भी नहीं होगा. अकीर्तिकरम अर्जुन है, और इससे तुम्हें यश भी नहीं मिलेगा, कीर्ति भी नहीं मिलेगा, इसलिए ऐसा मत करो. The very first shloka is a scolding. Why? Because Arjuna knows that he is separate from the army. He says that they are standing there, they are my gurus, they are my swajanam hatva, killing the my own people I don't want. Hatova prapsyasi swargam. That is afterwards reply of Sri Krishna. He says, I don't want to kill my kith and kin and go to Swarga. I don't want that. So everybody will die, what will I enjoy? Etc. etc. Great philosophy coming out of Arjuna. But wrong. Why? Because you are the person who were very instrumental in bringing this war, first of all, to begin with. And then now you see difference. You are already seeing difference. And then don't say that, because if you don't participate in the war, other people will be killed. So that is what? There is something called subject. Whole point of spiritual life, at least in the Indian context, is subjectivization of your experience. You try to encompass everything in yourself. That is spiritual practice. Till you can do it, you have to behave in the normal way. Till I see that you are separate, I am separate. I see that you suddenly faint, I go and help you. I have to help you. But when I see that everyone is same, I don't find any difference, I can't perceive any difference. Sri Ramakrishna goes into samadhi. Then he does not help anybody, nobody will even think of that. No? He has become one. And he did not help also. Why? Because some fishermen quarrel and one fellow beats the other fellow on the back and his back gets reddened. He's become one with everyone. So that is the point. So we have to subjectify the object. Actually, there is no object. There is only the subject. There is only the sakshi. We have to understand that. Till I understand that, I have to help. And you know what? In actual thing, if you really develop this kind of spiritual, nobody can, it is there in the Shastras, in Puranas, etc. In your presence, nobody can harm other person. If you really have that kind of a spiritual awakening or even thought, in your presence, other persons cannot. One sign of a yogi or one sign of a realized soul is that in his or her presence, the different sexes don't feel any difference. Men and women alike come and sit together and talk together. Because in his or her presence, they don't feel, suppose the yogi may be a male or a female, they don't feel that. Why? Because this person has conquered lust. Sri Ramakrishna, in front of Sri Ramakrishna, so many people used to go, they never used to feel. So many women disciples he had, they used to talk to him as though they are, even when Sri Ramakrishna was a child, he used to go to the neighbor's house and sit there and make fun and joke and cut remarks and all that. And then they used to think that he is also one among the women folk. Why? Because he had no trace of lust. And then he used to have the guise of a woman and he would go inside, etc. So how? Then his brother called and he is running, because the